when I was a junior to that first year, they almost wanted to keep that pressure on. So if his trajectory of improvement keeps going, if we force him to keep doing these little hard races and keep pushing him and see where he can break, then you eventually create a rider that is quite resilient. And it's quite a good theory, but I I quite I kind of just scoffed around most of the races. There was no like notable results, and
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, I guess, and I guess it depends. That approach sounds like it could potentially backfire depending on the person and the character that they're working with. But obviously did the trick with you. One thing that would you mentioned, so obviously the trajectory was quite sharp. You didn't start riding until fairly late compared to perhaps lots of your peers. Was there anything specific? Was there ever a specific moment when those around you at the club you were riding with recognized, or you yourself recognized, oh, okay, maybe I can make the jump here from just doing this as a sport and for fun into something more serious?
yeah, well, I always wanted to do that. I never wanted to. The goal wasn't so much to like ride the Tour de France or anything. The goal was to just see how far could I take this and how good can I get personally? How fast can I go up this hill? They wanted to kind of put in, kind of educate me as much as possible, put as much into me as possible, in the hope that I could, represent them in races and do well. And that, that paid off really. I mean, there's a select few in the club that really, took that on board and tried to make it their kind of job then to give me as much support as possible. And I'm really grateful for that. But it was it was fast paced. Like there was a lot of races that year when I was a junior that I did. That I mean, really, I was racing 2 or 3 times a week. I was doing local crits, and then I was doing, say, a national series junior race on the weekend. And with the support of a close group of people we had here, we were all getting in like one vehicle and driving up to the races and doing them like that.
Yeah, what's the name of the club, Ed? Because I feel like we've mentioned them quite a lot and we haven't given them their spot, so everyone knows who we're talking about.
So it's Bynea Cycling Club, Bynea, and
Okay.
they used to have kit up until maybe 5 6 years ago. I actually raced in it as a junior. The kit used to be kind of like a replica of the Banesto kit, the old Banesto kit.
Ah, nice. Whereabouts in Wales? I mean, I'm guessing everyone's probably guessed by now that you're from Wales, but whereabouts in Wales are you based? I'm presuming you're still based there.
Yeah, so Llanelli, which is right at the end of the M4.
Okay, lovely. And actually, so it's interesting you mentioned that that race that kind of first inspired you saw on TV. I like how you mentioned the rain. That was an important factor to you. I
Yeah,
imagine you get quite a lot of it,
yeah, we do. Yeah.
of course. All right, cool. So I noticed that you'd ridden the Tour of Britain before the hill climbing season kind of kicked off. Have you got any thoughts on that event specifically, or in the way that it might differ from other races that you ride on foreign soil, it being a home race? Is there any kind of difference to you in how you approach it, or how, or the days themselves?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's the first time I've ever done it, and people are actually surprised to hear that because I've been racing in the UK at this level for 7 years, and it's only because the teams I've been on have had such good bike riders, really, strength and depth, um, that it's been hard to make the team. But in terms of the race itself, it's very it's very difficult travel wise. There's an awful lot of traveling, and I try to get that across in my YouTube video and stuff. But the 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 race in itself was very much similar to the Tour Yorkshire. Um, Perhaps the Tour Yorkshire is a little bit more aggressive because it's a shorter race, whereas the Tour Britain is a week long. But in the actual efforts, the race was quite easy until it went hard. and then when it went hard, it went really, really hard. And the difference is remarkable in particularly the sprint stages. Thankfully, we didn't have any crosswinds, but if we did, it would have been a diabolical disaster for me. But the actual idea of like we were coming into a sprint, like Newcastle, I remember in particular, there was roundabouts, it was traffic furniture, there was like cones on the side of the road to stop people from parking their cars next to the pavement, but some of the cones were out in the road. So that was a little bit dangerous. It was like we were going at like 60k an hour for the best part of like the last 15k. It was like it was unreal like how fast we were going for so long, you know. And yeah, to me that was just a big shock. But then when we went to Kendal over the Pennines, we went a really hilly day. That was actually the easiest day for me on paper. And you know, I kind of not to sound so thing, but like I was almost sitting there going, "Where's half the munch gone? You know, why is this like why are we losing numbers?" But of course, you know, it's horses for courses. Everybody has their strength.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting the way you describe. I'm looking at it here. Got it up in front of me, and it's some big days. So it's 200k, 180, 170, 170, 190, 170. It's a long old slog.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing as
And
well, actually.
go on.
The that first day, I've not seen so many people stop to take a nature break so many times in my life.
Really?
There was I'm sure like there must have been one rider, two riders I definitely saw maybe stop 7 or 8 times over that 200k period, which is only like 5.5 hours possibly. And I just don't know if it's possible to actually urinate that much and drink that much.
What do you reckon that was about?
Nerves, probably.
Yeah,
Being at the first day, I don't know, because maybe a lot of them are the sprinters as well. So yeah, possibly nerves.
yeah. And that race, obviously, the overall was won by Van der Poel. What's your thoughts on him? What's it like seeing him up close and riding alongside him, racing alongside him?
Yeah, he's well. I actually when I first, well, my first view of him was riding behind him at one point.